Hello, all. Episode 4, Day 2 of Most Expected Topics for Prelims 2020. So, in the morning session, I discussed episode 3, 11 to 15 topics. Now, 16 to 20 topics. Very important for your prelims. The 16th topic is Golan Heights. Golan Heights, a very issue between Israel and Syria. Here in map you can see it is a border between Israel and Syria. This particular area is called as Golan Heights area. This particular area is called as Golan Heights area in between Syria and Israel. So here US President recently announced that US may recognize Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. That means he gave a hint that we are going to recognize the sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Now onwards, this Golan Heights, which is claimed by the Syria as their territory, now will be considered as a territory of Israel. So in prelims point of view, we can expect Golan Heights is the region, is a conflict between which following countries? Israel and Syria. The US will be the first country to recognize Israel's sovereignty over the Golan and marks a dramatic shift in US policy. The Golan Heights were captured by Israel from Syria in the 1967 conflict and annexed in 1981, and a move not recognized internationally. So it was captured by Israel. Originally it belongs to Syria, but it was been captured by the Israeli from Syria in 1967 conflict and completely annexed in 1981, a move which was internationally not recognized. What is the US stand and Israel's response? The US has said that Israel would not give up the Golan Heights, as doing so would endanger Israel's very existence. So the US tells that the very existence of Israel depends upon Golan Heights. Why? Because geographically the Golan Heights is located on the geostrategic location between the Syria and Israel. If Israel had power on Golan, they can have all the movements of Syria. They can know everything, all the movements which are happening in Syria can be under the control of Israel. The US has said that Israel would not give up the Golan Heights, as doing so would endanger Israel's very existence, and Israel has welcomed the US stand. The Syrian government said that the Golan was an indivisible part of Syrian territory and recovering it via all means guaranteed by international law is still a priority. What does it mean? So the Syria is ready for international negotiation according to the international law. So they don't want to go for a conflict. They don't want to go for a war. So they are very much towards international laws and its abiding rules. But whereas Russia, Iran and Turkey have condemned the US statement as illegal and unacceptable and said that decisions will lead to crisis in the region. Impact of withdrawal. The formal recognition of Israel's sovereignty over the Golan doesn't change anything on the ground. Israel already has a considerable military presence in the region. It is not immediately clear how the UN peacekeeping force in the Golan might be affected by the US move. What is the importance of Golan Heights? As I told you earlier, the Golan Heights give Israel an excellent point for monitoring Syrian movements. What is happening in the Syria can have an excellent point for monitoring. The topography provides a natural buffer against any military adventure from Syria. The area is also a key source of water for an arid region. Rainwater from the Golan's catchment feeds into the Jordan River. The area provides a third of Israel's water supply. The land is fertile and the volcanic soil is used to cultivate vineyards and orchards and raise cattle. The Golan is also very important for its strategic location. So the Golan Heights is an issue between which of the following countries? Between Israel and Syria. This point is important, prelims point of view, and mains point of view. What is the issue between the Israel and Syria regarding Golan Heights? The next topic is Mission Shakti. Mission Shakti. India has tested the anti-satellite system from APJ Abdul Kalam Island, formerly known as Wheeler Island in Odisha. The test was named as Mission Shakti. It has successfully destroyed 5 satellites in the low Earth orbit. With this test, India is now in the league of 3 countries after US, Russia and China. In the morning class, I told it's UK. It's not UK, it is Russia, US, Russia and China to have such technology. Anti-satellite system. It is a missile-based system to attack moving satellites. It is of 2 kinds based on launching from the ground or from planes. DRDO has developed anti-satellite completely indigenously. What is the significance? A large number of crucial applications are now satellite based. This include navigation systems, communication networks, broadcasting, banking systems, stock markets, weather forecasting, disaster management, land and ocean mapping and monitoring tools and military applications. So several applications on this space. Destroying a satellite would render these applications useless. That means any enemy country can destroy our satellite. It is nothing but it is leading to space wars. It can cripple enemy infrastructure and without causing any threat to human lives. It was aimed at strengthening the capability to safeguard space assets and India's overall security. Low Earth orbit. A low Earth orbit is an Earth-centered orbit with an altitude of 2000 kilometers or less. This satellite, which is destroyed by India, is 300 kilometers from the Earth's surface. Most of the man-made objects in space are in low Earth orbits. The next topic is Lokpal and Lokayukta. Why it is in the news? Recently, a new logo and a new motto were launched for Lokpal, the Apex Anti-Corruption Ombudsman. So, what is this logo and what is it? Recently, a new logo and a new motto were launched for Lokpal, the Apex Anti-Corruption Ombudsman. We know that the ombudsman system was very much popular in Scandinavian countries. The first ombudsman was in Sweden and there was a large demand for anti-corruption ombudsman. And in 2013, a law was been passed which is Lokpal and Lokayukta Act because of the efforts of Anna Hazare, a social activist. The logo it includes the shapes of the ombudsman judges bench, the people, 3 human figure, vigilance and Ashoka Chakra forming an eye. The law, a shape of book, and the judicial 2 tricolor hands placed below forming a unique balance. It is designed by Prashant Mishra, a resident Prayagraj, Uttar Pradesh. Motto, Ma Gridaha Kasya Visadhanam. Do not be greedy for anyone's wealth, Sanskrit word it is. Lokpal has decided its motto slogan based on their own inputs and this motto. This is the Lokpal logo and motto release. This is the logo. And the motto of the Lokpal is Ma Gridaha Kasvidhanam. Do not be greedy for anyone's wealth. Do not be greedy for anyone's wealth. That is what. Yes. This is the logo. Yes. Forming an eye, a judge bench. So this is the logo you have to remember. The logo is based upon the literal meaning of Lokpal. Lok means people and Pal means caretaker, that is caretaker of people. Motto is Ma Gridaha Kasya Vidhanam. Do not be greedy for anyone's wealth. You have to remember this. Do not be greedy for anyone's wealth. Why? Because corruption, when we are asking money. But somewhere, some other place, we are taking someone's money. That's why we are going for some illegal activity. So don't be greedy for someone's wealth, anyone's wealth. Of you, this motto is very important. Do not be greedy for anyone's wealth. The Lokpal and Lokayukta Act 2013 provided for the establishment for Lokpal for the union and Lokayukta for the states. These institutions are statutory bodies without any constitutional status. The Anna Hazare asked for constitutional status, but they compromised for statutory status. A law has been passed in 2013. They perform the function of an ombudsman and inquire into allegations of corruption against certain public functionaries and for related matters. Prime Minister is also under the ambit of Lokpal. In India, the concept of constitutional ombudsman was first proposed by then Law Minister Ashok Kumar Sen in Parliament in the early 1960s. The term Lokpal and Lokayukta were coined by L.M. Singhvi. The bill was passed in 2013 in both the House of Parliament and came into force from 16th January 2014. So for prelims, The next is electoral reforms. Electoral reforms to the development and benign change in election processes in India in order to facilitate better democracy, clean politics, ideal members of legislative houses, equality of representation, and so on. Articles 324 to 329 deals with elections and electoral reforms. The process of electoral reforms focus mainly on broadening the core meaning of democracy, making it more citizen friendly, implementation of adult suffrage in letter as well as spirit. So, what is urgent requirement for India right now is electoral reforms. We are being called as the largest democracy of India, but there are some reforms are pending. We need to have large number of reforms in elections. So, what are the aspects of electoral reforms? Transparency about the background of the candidates. Why? Because nearly 15% of MPs are having criminal backgrounds. Freeing the election process from muzzle and money power. Money plays a major role in Indian election system. Prohibit the criminalization politics. 43% newly elected Lok Sabha MPs have a criminal record. So that much percent newly have a criminal record and 15% already have criminal cases on them. Stop the misuse of government machinery. Mainly police will be used by the government of the day before the elections. So that misuse should be contained. Prohibiting the nexus between the business and politics for the sake of funding the elections. There will be nexus between the businessman and the politician. Check the influence of caste and religious groups in an election. So election, caste will play a major role. Caste card, religion card will be playing major role in Indian elections. Availing all the citizens eligible to vote a comfortable, friendly and assured facilitation of vote casting. Vote should be provided to all. Upholding the secrecy of voters. Enhance the trust in the eyes of citizens towards electoral process. Fair registration and recognition of the political parties. Applying the model code of conduct efficiently. Rationalizing electoral process, non-partisan role of media. The media should play the role of neutrality. Unbiased. But where nowadays media is biased towards the political parties. So there is urgent need for electoral reforms, which is also told by the Supreme Court very recently, because of which it is in the news. And you have to go through all the electoral bonds. Next topic is 22nd Law Commission of India. Recently, the Union Cabinet has approved the constitution of 22nd Law Commission of India for a period of 3 years. For every 3 years, we will be having Law Commission, which will be recommending how the laws should be changed, the necessary amendments, the transformations which are required in the law procedure, all will be mentioned in this particular Law Commission. And recently the Government of India constituted 22nd Law Commission. The Law Commission of India is a non-statutory body, that means executive body constituted by the government of the day. The first Law Commission of Independent India was established in 1955 for a 3-year term. Since then, 21 more commissions have been established and now recently formed is 22nd. The first Law Commission was established during British Raj era in 1834 by the Charter Act of 1833 and was chaired by Lord Macaulay. It works as an advisory body to the Ministry of Law and Justice. So this Law Commission is advisory, recommendatory in nature, not binding, not abiding. The Law Commission undertakes research in law and review of existing laws in India for making reforms therein and enacting new legislation on reference made to it by the central government suo motu. The Law Commission undertakes research in law and review of existing laws in India for making reforms therein and enacting new legislations on the reference made to it by the central government on suo motu. So what are all the recommendations made by the central government? On that the Law Commission will be working out. And the Law Commission will also recommend to the government. Law Commission in its 262 report recommended abolition of death penalty for all crimes except terrorism related offences and waging war against the state. Major recommendations. Its report on electoral reforms had suggested simultaneous Lok Sabha and state assembly elections to improve governance and stability. Simultaneous elections also recommended by the Law Commission. These points you have to use in your mains. Abolition of death penalty is recommended by the Law Commission. Simultaneous elections is also recommended by Law Commission. 267th report of the Law Commission had drafted a new law, the Criminal Law Amendment Bill 2017, inserting new sections to fortify democracy against hate speeches. But that is still in the form of bill, but this is the bill which is made by the Law Commission. Hate speeches to control hate speeches, to safeguard the democracy of the country. The Law Commission had also recommended implementation of uniform civil code in the country. These are various famous recommendations given by law commissions. Thank you. Everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.